Hey, hey, uh, uh, what, what? That's right. No, we back. We back doing our thing. We had took a little, not a hiatus, but the last show was kind of cut short. No, they told me that it was just over because of our time was up. But anyway, we're back with anything and
It's everything and
anything. I always get that mixed up, to be honest with you, because this is the way that you got to do it for some kind of legalities. I don't know anything about it, but here we go again.
yeah.
But how's it going, big fella?
I'm doing fair.
Good. It's funny, man. What I want to bring up is something that kind of it makes me laugh. These days, the crime that's being committed. It's so funny, man. I mean, they're accelerated crimes. And I was wondering, I asked myself, I say, why is crime so blatant? You know what I mean? I mean, back in the day, you would do it. It would be crime going on. Don't get me wrong, but people would do it, when they needed money. They run up on somebody with a gun and stick them up, whatever, and burglary, whatever. But these days, you're doing a lot of smash and grab up in your face, people getting stabbed on subways, like you would not believe. Out here in California, you don't think there's no subways out here in Cali, but there's plenty of subways out there. They built them, and there's major crime going on. I'm talking about robberies, stabbings, killings, the whole 9 yards. So they got to think wise, like they did back east, and put police up under the station. So that's what they just recently do. Wake up. But the thing that concerns me is how rapid things are happening. I mean, like the smash and grabs, everything is up in your face. And the conclusion that I've come to, you know what I'm saying, the reason why things is accelerated, I'm going to have to get spiritual with you on this one, is because the enemy, which is the devil, knows that his time is limited. He only has a limited amount of time before he's no longer in positions to run roughshod on earth. That's my thing. And so what he does is he's accelerating things. He's putting more things in a position where they're becoming more blatant. You know what I'm saying? Crime is more in your face than behind the scenes. Smash and grabs. People running up in stores, grabbing stuff and just running out like it's the thing to do. You see, that's because we are what we call, as far as I'm concerned, in Revelations. And Revelations is toward the end of the Bible. We're in the last days. And that's why, to me, these crimes are accelerating, So I say all that to say, maybe it might be time for people to start getting themselves together. You understand what I'm saying?
I think you kind of right, because I saw something the other day on one of these video clips. Broad daylight, dude run up on the truck with a gun, into the driver's side window. I don't know how this dude is still driving this truck, but he backed up, and then all of a sudden you see the truck come forward again at an accelerated speed, and it hit the dude that had the gun. And I mean hit him and like tossed his butt way up in the air, man. And boom, he came down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then kind of like the video ended, but I was like, wow, all that happened in broad daylight. And then there was another one where the dude had kidnapped the kid, his own child. He kidnapped the kid because he didn't want to give him up for visitation. So he grabbed the kid and jumped in the car, right? So they surrounded him in the McDonald's parking lot. He get out the car holding the kid in front, like the kid is a shield.
Wow, like a human shield.
Against the police.
Okay.
And they got their guns drawn on him. Talking about, put the kid down, blah, 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 blah. He finally put, they tased his butt. And as he was falling, one of the police officers ran in there and grabbed the kid right quick before he kind of, the kid wasn't going to get the full impact because he was still kind of in his arms.
Right,
and shit. And dude fell, and he fell kind of like into a truck. Because people was in the drive-thru. This was right in the drive-thru in the morning, busy like a motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Truck stopped because this shit going on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the driver of the truck did, but anyway, But to your point, yeah, it is getting kind of blatant, and yeah, that spiritual aspect could be a part of it. I believe so. I mean, everything. I mean, you got to kind of look at everything in the spiritual way, especially that pandemic that went on a few years back. Ooh, yeah, everybody was, running around trying to figure out how to, no, this is spiritual, dude. Yeah, this is This is like famine when famine hit back in the biblical days, and plagues and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly,
it's the same kind of stuff, dude. You just think because it's in the Bible, it ain't gonna happen now.
Exactly, as history starts to repeat itself, and it's so funny that when you look in the Bible in a lot of different aspects, and you can parallel things that took place then that's going on now. A lot of people call it prophecy, which I believe it is, but those are things that were prophesied back in those days that would be the things that are actually taking place today, which is the whole situation. The uprising, wars, rumors of wars, mothers going up against their daughters going up against mothers, sons rebelling against fathers. This whole thing, this whole different way of life is taking place. And what we're saying here, is something that we feel that is going on now. If you want to get technical about it, yeah, you can definitely go and look in your books and even find some of the things that we're speaking about, and you can find evidence of this on our show. We like to talk about, as we said, anything and everything, and that's basically what you're getting a taste of here right today. It's basically anything and everything. And I'm gonna tell you something else. As far as while we're on this, if we think about this for 1 second. Working, if we translate it back from what the Bible says, unless we're working for the kingdom, working is a curse. Basically, why? Because when they were back in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, so on and so forth, and they ate from the tree that they weren't supposed to eat from. The tree of knowledge, and and the thing was, their punishment was women would have birth pains, and man will have to work for his sustenance, for his food. So that was a punishment, because at the time we were living in the garden, from what I can understand, and everything was free and easy and lovely. All we had to do was be obedient and obey a command that was given for us not to eat from a certain tree. And we did that. And so now people are running around working and so on and so forth. But if we peel it back, and then we wonder why money is the root of all evil, sometimes we try to hustle for it too hard and we miss life. We miss our children. We miss growth, because we're so busy working for something else that basically we're not even supposed to be working for. We're supposed to be working for that kingdom, if what we learn from our Bible, it teaches us. See, so that's my position, and and you feel free to chime in. If you have any comments about that, if you want to talk to me directly, I have no problem with it. But I'm just giving you my position as far as what I interpret when I read into that. Now, if you want to correct me, I'm open for suggestions. I have no problem with correction. You see, so my thing is, we have to start coming out of our carnal mind and going more into a spiritual style, a way of thinking, if we want to navigate through this thing called life, on a level where it's comfortable. Because our thinking, as far as being where we're at now with the Donald Trump situation going on, and this whole thing with the Trumpedo, and him getting 34 counts, you see, that within itself, if you ask me, is spiritual, because all this happened when he stood in front of that church with the Bible. Now, he had said nothing and just went on about his business and just kept on duping man like he was doing, getting over for many years, doing his bank jobs, inside jobs, of course, that nobody can see, doing his bank jobs. He would have been cool, but he stepped on the wrong toes. You see, certain lines you can't cross. And when he stepped over that line, and when he started going into the biblical aspect of what he was trying to do, it was game over. Because that's one thing you do not do. You don't fool around with the big fella, way, shape, nor form. And now he's in turmoil. You see, being what? Held up in a public market. Held up in the public market for what? Ridicule and scorn. And then after that, if we read, great will be his fall. See, so that's where we're at with it. You know, I don't think nobody has anything to blame as far as that is concerned, but that man himself, because he had so many situations where he could have pulled back and let a lot of things go by and still been safe. Still been safe, but he didn't want to do that.
Well, it was his ego.
Yeah, of course it was.
And plus, you know, it was a financial thing too. You know, when you become president, you know, you can garner up a bunch. Look how his son-in-law went over there and got all that money from the Arabs. You know, why? Well, for probably our secrets. That's probably what the money was for. Was for our secrets and those documents that he knew he was going to bring home with him when he left the White House. Okay, kick us down this $2 billion, and once we up out of here, we'll send you a little package of information that I'm sure you'll think will be worth it.
Exactly.
That's my take on it. You know, that's my take.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Because those documents that he's taken since then, from what I can understand, they've even found a few more. But my position on that is, I think that he had already duped them, and he's holding them because he's going to use that for leverage. Because right now, they're in his pocket. You see. Let me tell you something about a great fall. You see, everybody said, why don't he go to jail? Why don't he do this? Why don't he do that? No. Let's stretch this thing out, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. You see, when you have a great fall, you got to be at a high level. You can't have, okay, let me give you an example. Say like if you were standing on a curb and you fell off the curb, you twisted your ankle. That's a fall, and you would be hurt, and your ankle would be sore, and, you know, that's a fall, and it would hurt. But now let's take a look at what a great fall is. Say like if you fell off the top of a roof of a 12-story building. That's a greater fall. Am I correct? So the greater the fall, the more damage to the individual. So what I'm telling you is he has to go up high enough to have a great fall, and high enough not only for us to witness, but for the world. See, this is for the world to see, because as I stated earlier, he stepped on the wrong toes. So now he's got to be held up in the public square, and which is the public square is now called the world, for him to, so everybody can see what you're not supposed to do when you come into power. What you're not supposed to do when you come into power. And that's the bottom line. You see, he done stepped on too many toes. Now what's going to end up happening, they like, well, where's his wife and daughter? I tell you where his wife and daughter is. And I told you. You ain't seen them because they're over in Kazakhstan, so we're getting the villain and everything, brother. Because I'm gonna tell you something: when they find this man guilty, he is not going to want to stay here and face no prison sentence and all that in these next couple of crimes that's going on. Now it's a race. They're gonna write it's a race. It ain't between Biden and Trump. It's between Trump in the penitentiary or Trump in the White House. He has to get to the White House in order to make this go away.
Jailhouse or the White House.
Jailhouse or the White House. He has to get there to make this go away. If he don't get to the White House, it's going to be another January 6th, and it's going to even be bigger because they're going to need a big diversion. Okay, listen to me carefully. They're going to need a big enough diversion so he can slip out the back door, get on a plane, and van boost. Okay, while everybody's looking on the tarmac with the big Trump plane that says Trump on it, you're gonna have every reporter in the world look on that tarmac, waiting for that plane to pull off. But guess what? The only thing that's gonna be on that plane is the pilot and somebody that looks like Trump. Okay, because Trump is gonna have an FX makeup artist turn him into a fat black man. And he's going to get on a Southwestern airline right over here, and he's going to go for wherever he wants because he'll already have the ID in one hand and the paperwork that he stole from the White House to get his money back in a briefcase. Okay? So if you're looking for the Trumpito, fly out there in Russia where he's going to be hanging out with his boy, because his boy already said he could come on out there. And there's no extradition from Russia. He's not going to let Trump come back. They're buddies like that. You see, Trump ain't going to have to, because there's no extradition. And the only way Trump will get busted is if he stepped on American soil again. Okay? But no, he's going to stay out there with Putin, and they're going to have it out there in the papers, Rich. As I said, there's going to be a headline out there. And the headline's going to read, Trump fighting out here with Putin. It's going to be fighting, which is Trump, and Putin, which is the man over there in Russia. And it's going to come up stinking. You understand me? And that's what's going to end up happening. Now, you can check with me on that in about another, if he don't become president, you mark my words. You mark my words.
Yeah.
The only way he's going to get out of this mess, if he gets the presidency, and he's going to do everything in his power to try to achieve that, even if it means murder, he's going to do it. He already did it. Some people already died in January 6th. 2 people, and ain't nobody said nothing about that, but he kicked that off. Okay, he got a couple of people busted, but that's okay. They still want to put money in his pocket. Why? Because he's trying to make America great again. And I ask you, what does that mean? I'm not going to go into whole detail. Remember, great, this is the key word, again. Again means something that you've done that has been already done in the past. Now, if you think back, if you're about my age, what was your past like as far as economics was concerned? Now, we have fun because we had. But where was your economics? So just think about that before you want to make America great again. Okay?
When were we ever great? What is the definition of being great? Okay. I mean, we were more sympathetic back then, I think. Mm-hmm. You know, especially when it came to like being patriotic, because when the men went to war, the women kind of took over the jobs. Mm-hmm. and they were sending food over there, you know, growing food and doing things like that. That was patriotic. You know, you think women gonna step in? And we basically was in a war for 20-something years. You know what? You know, women didn't step in and take over. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, so you know, whenever was America great? You know, that's just his bull crap to try to bring us back to where we were under the thumb of them. Where I don't want to go back.
Well, I think what he was thinking, I think you correct, but I think what he's talking about when America are great again for them, those of his hue, because that's when they were more, you know, Monday, Sunday, happy days and all that. It was happy days, the cuckoo bum, the ruckle bum, coming all praise to you.
While people of color was all suffering.
And trying to navigate through this thing called life.
Beat their head by cops and nobody was saying nothing.
And shot water
in jail for a crime that we didn't do.
Right.
You know, all kinds of it. When our women getting raped and nobody getting charged for it.
And this is the America that he wants to make great again.
Stuff that was going on back then. And why was that? Because it was a word of mouth. Exactly. But you notice how when the phones came into fruition and everybody had a camera and people started filming stuff, now all of a sudden, you know, it started with Rodney King. Now all of a sudden these kind of things do happen, huh?
Exactly.
You know? Now you got dude laying on my man's neck with his knee and the whole thing being filled and shit, you know, it do happen.
It's
been happening. It's been happening for years.
See,
now y'all kind of believe us, and that's part of the reason why I think, you know, this generation is more, you know, the younger people in their 20-somethings and early 30s,
they're more aggressive.
They more aggressive with being fair, you know, with being on the right side instead of being on the side that Trump wants everybody to be on side. Everybody, these Latinos is coming over, they M13 and they killing and murdering. And look at these caravans of people. They was coming over here when you were president.
And see, not only that, when you say again, remember what he was doing back in the days. He was grabbing on women's crotches and getting busted and burnt. See, that's when you can do that. And nobody was doing nothing. That's what he called great again, when he can walk around and do what he wanted to, anybody he wanted to do, and wasn't being held accountable for it. That's when America was great. And he had buddies that was flying in planes. And they was
hanging out with Epstein over there in Epstein Island. Look how young he was. Remember the picture they showed when they watching the girls dance?
Yeah.
And they showing him and Epstein. Look how young he is then.
Exactly.
You know, that's when he was over there grabbing all them pussies, fool.
You see? So now the whole thing is, you know, so now I'm comfortable. So yeah, let's make America great again when I can do stuff like this, like you just said, and not get in any trouble, not be held accountable for it. You know, they can because they're not me, you see? And that's why the whole Teflon Don thing came into fruition, where he thought he was down with Elliot Ness and the Untouchables. But see, he got, and that's why I think this verdict hit him so hard, because he found out that he's no longer that Teflon Don no more, because I think he 0 for 3 right now.
And he won't.
He 0 for 3.
And he gonna lose them other ones too once they come around, because they got, and especially if they get delayed, because it's gonna give them more time to get more information.
And see, and that's why I think it's getting ready to be really horrible, because what happens is now you got all the people who want to do diabolical stuff or move different plans into action that they couldn't, because they were basically all in it for themselves, and their folks was going to make a certain amount of money and so on and so forth, but it wouldn't benefit the whole group on the cause, of course, America. So these are the people that's pouring into his campaign now, because he's making promises to these people that he's going to do something for them if he can get the presidency. So that's where you see all this money coming from, 32 million. Or 52 million, these numbers going up, because before, if you think about it, the big boys wasn't touching him because he was dirty. But now that he's in a desperate situation, and not only does he can use the money, he needs the money because, see, everybody think Donald is rich. Donald's not rich. They've been eating out that man's pocket like piranhas. He's been paying off hookers. He's been paying off people that he did wrong to in stores. He's been paying off all kind of lawsuits. I mean, he ain't got too much liquid left. Trust. And then he's paying these lawyers, and some of them aren't even getting paid, but they know they're gonna get their money off the book deals, because it's gonna be a book that everybody's gonna write a book and everybody's gonna buy it. Okay, so they're gonna get their money off of that. So they're not too much worried about him giving them a check, because at this particular point they know that he's depleted. And that's where all his other money coming from, the donor money. The donor money is helping pay for some of his legal bills as well. You see, so that's why he got the information that he stole from the White House, because that's going to be how he replenishes his money when he starts selling secrets to the government, to the enemy. Excuse me. When he starts selling those secrets to the enemy, when you start seeing these wars popping up out of anywhere and so on and so forth, you'll know who's behind it.
He want to take us back to slavery days, man.
Well, yo, no doubt he wanted to rope around our necks, and I can't understand them brothers out there talking about they fist up with Trump. Bro, y'all be very careful about that. If he don't care about white folks, what makes you think he care about y'all black asses? Trust and believe, man. Please don't do it. I'm gonna leave that alone. Don't do it. Don't do it. If he don't care about his own people, he's throwing his own people in jail left and right. Okay? The only thing that he even fucking with y'all for in any way, shape, or form is for a vote. Hopefully you can get a couple of the crew members to go behind you, and he call y'all his black buddies. That's be about it. After that, y'all try to get in the White House. From that point, y'all be locked up, patted down, and carted off the damn grounds. Trust and believe. Okay?
Yeah, slavery was something else, man. How they, and they still not, everybody then been paid. Everybody who this country then wronged has been paid reparations, except us. And who suffered anything like we did back in the days of slavery,
and still suffering the remnants,
still suffering? Who? Nobody. And so they didn't gave the Japanese, they didn't gave them money. They didn't gave the Irish money. They didn't gave a whole bunch of people.
They didn't give themselves some money,
reparation money, except us. Because they don't want to live up to that. Anytime we try to, they'll never look. this is why I'm not with that 9/11. I mean, I don't condone what they did 9/11, but how we bring it up every year, never forget. Like never forget what they did on 9/11, 2001 or whatever year, I think it was 2001. But never forget, never forget. But when we bring up slavery, oh y'all, come on, that was 200 years ago. 200 years from now, I'm sure they still gonna be saying never forget 9/11. Mm-hmm. So why we got to forget slavery?
Right.
Why we got to forget slavery?
Why is that?
Anytime we want to bring it up, a lot of times, well, that was 200 years ago. That was so long years ago.
But the remnants of that and what it did was an everlasting, a long-term lasting damage that it caused on the psyche, the mentality, and the upward mobility of a group of people that were very progressive.
Or you'll say, well, we didn't go over there and y'all the chiefs and all of them, they sold y'all to us. Okay, that's all well and good still, but after once y'all got us and brought us over here, the inhumane, even just bringing us here was inhumane. The way you had us in those boats, laying butt naked, side by side, looking like sardines,
right.
Looking like sardines,
right.
And then that's where the lie come from. That's where the whole lie come from. Because when y'all saw them black African, and I'm gonna be blunt, y'all might not like what I'm about to say, but this is my take. And I may be wrong, I may be right, but this is my take. This is what I believe. When they saw them black African dicks, how big them damn dicks was, the first thing they thought about is, oh my God, they're gonna come over here and they're gonna rape all our wives and daughters. So they couldn't go back to America, come back to America and tell their wives and sons or wives and daughters, don't go mingle with the black men because they got big dicks. We don't want them. They couldn't go back and say that to their daughters and wives and women in their lives. They couldn't say that. So what they do? They made up lies. They stink. They're lazy. They'll try to con you and manipulate you.
And wasn't that the biggest oxymoron that it could possibly be? How you gonna bring somebody over here and work them half to death and then tell them they're lazy?
You working 16, 17, 18
hours a day. That didn't make any sense. That let me know
in the hot
that
sun.
They're uneducated.
In the hot sun. How you gonna be lazy?
You see, I want to show you something. You know what? This is this book, y'all. This book is called Hidden Freedom. Okay, Hidden Freedom. And it was written by this gentleman called Charles Eady, right? He has my last name. I won't get into the background and whatnot. Relative of mine, I haven't seen him in years. But in this book, it depicts the first slaves that came over here. Well, some of the first slaves that came over here back in the 1800s and 1700s, were actually some of those people were free slaves as they came over here, who bought their freedom down in what they call South Carolina. It was PD, South Carolina, I believe. It was a group of African and connected with Indians, the Catawba. They were mixed African and Indians. Well, basically what happened was when they came on Spanish ships opposed to white slave ships. And the Spanish, they really didn't clean the slavery as white folks did. They from what I can understand reading the book, they didn't have this. They wasn't feeling that. So when they got here to America, and the slaves started coming into America and so on and so forth, they were restricted in a lot of areas, but they wasn't to the point where as they were a shackled slave, but they had them working as indentured and so on and so forth. Anyway, there was this group of people that had bought their freedom earlier back in those days that came in. Their last name was Eady. Okay, and they settled in this place called Eadytown. And from what I can understand in reading, and I didn't know this, that they were black people, but they owned slaves. Now, see, that's something that I didn't know until I read this book. It really tripped me out. I mean, you would think I would know something like that, but it wasn't the same type of inhumane treatment as white folks, how white folks was treating slaves. They were more indentured servants, so to speak, whereas they, was teaching them how to read, write, and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? But they would also work for their living by helping with the crops and the children and whatever there was to do. But like I said, it's something that really set me to thinking and whatnot, because I hadn't known that black people ever owned slaves or indentured service back in those days.
See, and that's part of it. We don't. I mean, that scenario I gave you is just from me.
Uh-huh.
That's nothing I've ever read from anything. That's just my sense of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But because nobody teaches that in school.
No,
not now. We don't learn nothing about slavery because they're trying to hide that stuff. That's why they don't want you. Right now they're trying to, you can't be teaching about that. That's whatever they call it in school. And let me tell you, I worked in education for years. Ain't nobody trying to teach your kids. Ain't nobody trying to groom your kids. And we wish we could, because then maybe they would learn something. Because it's the toughest thing in the world, competing against these cell phones when you're trying to teach a teenager.
That's
okay?
Right.
So please get away from all that about grooming your kids or things like that. But we're never taught that. The only way we learn things is that if we do our own research on it, or like some of these movies may depict true stuff, but we don't know hardly anything about slavery or that time in the country. The documentary 1619 kind of opened up some eyes and stuff like that, but still we don't know a lot about what's going on, and they don't want us to know a lot.
And then you got to understand too, they're not going to put so much stuff out in the ad for us to understand as far as the truth is concerned,
right.
Because then it's going to give us more food for thought,
right.
and whatever we come up after that, they don't want to deal with, and then the fact that they feel that they don't want to share in the wealth because we put the work in, but now they want to call it reparations, but that's just giving people back the money that they worked for free for all the damn years.
The White House.
It's really not reparations at all. It's just payment for the work that we put in.
Back pay.
It should be back
with
pay
interest.
With interest is what it should be called, not reparations. Yeah. We repaired shit when we got here because everything works from disorder to order. So they was out of order from the jump, else they wouldn't have needed us.
Right. We lazy. Well, why'd you bring us over here if we lazy?
You see,
you could have did this work yourself. We lazy. Well, it seems like you the lazy one while we out there in the hot sun. You sitting up on the porch sipping tea with your feet on top of my little brother.
See, the thing is not even so much as the effect that it was taking place then, although it is, but it's the extended damage that it caused, because now you have people out here that's getting into conflicts within their family, within their culture, because they're believing and feeling different ways. Some relationships are not allowing, the gentleman to express himself in any certain way. Now they're questioning his manhood. You know what I'm saying? Well, you got to be a man. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that came along with that when they said, well, get over it. But some people can, some people can't. But there's some people that really have issues with that, because you got to remember that's been breeded down from many, although you say it might be many years ago, but the mentality, folks, is what I'm talking about. It's the mentality. If you have any of that mentality in your head or in your being, you're going to pass it along to the next individual. You see, that's where corporal punishment came from. Do you think we just woke up and said, okay, we're going to just beat our kids' asses, to make them learn? No. It's from way back in the day when they felt that they wasn't doing what they were supposed to do, they would take them and they would whoop them. So now when we was in a position to have our families and so on and so forth, but we felt that we needed to get somebody to listen to what we was doing, we would reproduce that. Whoop them, whoop them, whoop them. You see what I'm saying? And the only reason why we stopped whooping them is because they put a law against that. They put a law. It was called child abuse. You see, it was called child abuse. And what the law was y'all can't whoop them no more, but the police can kill them. Okay? So check this out now. You can't discipline your child in your own house. So he goes out in the street and acts use that same undisciplined attitude that he has under your roof. He takes that into the street. The policeman handles him. So why couldn't you manhandle him or whatever you needed to do to keep him from going to that level? So they're saying, no, you can't whoop his ass, but we can. You see? So that's what that's about.
If he get too out of hand,
we're gonna lay him down. We're gonna lay him down. So now we didn't took our hand, we didn't put our hands up and let the system raise our kids. You see? So now we have another problem. We have another problem. And you want statistics? Look at all the young kids who's been gunned down by these police out here.
Of color.
Of color, thank you. And look at the repercussions thereof. Now, just recently, there started being some repercussions, but just remember the time when we all didn't have any cell phone.
Yeah.
When we didn't have no cell phone. And everybody was turning up dead. And the kids down in Atlanta. Yeah. That whole thing. Nobody know nothing. You see? So, you know, it pains me. You know, it pains me. And, you know, as I said, we on this anything and everything, man. And this is one of the things that sticks an axe in my neck, man. You know, how we just allow society to make rules that damage us in our communities and actually raising our children as we see fit. You know, now don't get me wrong, I do understand abuse is abuse. If you take it to another level, then yeah, because there was some horrific stories about, you know, kids being, you know, over chastised and things that happen. You know what I'm saying? And I think that needs to be rooted out. But like I said,
a good old fashioned ass whooping ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Exactly.
I got a whole bunch of them, man.
Exactly.
And I ain't messed up.
Exactly.
I don't think I'm messed up. I ain't went out there and killed nobody or you know, I mean, I ain't.
But since they stopped that, look at the crime rate. Look at all this smash and grab. You walking up and stabbing people.
Yeah.
You know, don't nobody got no feelings, no respect. And these young cats out here these days, OG, please. OG, the only thing, when you told me OG, I always say you right. Because it's only God with me. That's right. Okay, OG, you can move that to somebody else because they out here robbing OGs, sticking them up, and stabbing them up out here. You understand what I'm saying? And don't get on the train or the bus out here.
I mean, that's kind of like a silly, you know, like I don't even know what you would call it.
Acronym?
Maybe acronym. To call somebody like an OG, like an original gangster, like any old dude, like you are original gangster. Well, I never was a gangster, dude. So, you know, I mean, I don't even know where you coming from with that. Why would you call me that?
Oh, I thought the way he was talking about, oh, God. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, hold him up, big fella. But well, I say that to say the respect margin. See, back in the day, we used to respect our older cats because they would put you up under their arm, they give you information, you know, put you up under their wing, holler at you. If you were going in the wrong direction, you know, they give you some game to pull yourself together. You know, they catch you slipping. They make sure that you know, hey, yo, come here, let me talk to you for a second. And see, let me tell you something about this word called rap. Okay. See, rap, that's where the word rap came from. Rap came from back in the day. All right. Before there was even rap music, it was brothers out here saying, my man, let me rap to you. See, because when you was rapping to an individual, you was either popping knowledge. You understand? That's exactly what it was. You was rapping to somebody. You was either getting knowledge or you was giving knowledge. If somebody's rapping to you, they wanted to tell you something to enlighten you and move you to the next level. Now, if they say, yo, motherfucker, now you knew you had a beef. But if they say, if you had a beef and they say, yo, man, let's rap about it, you know they was going to put their hands down and come up to you and talk from here. They was coming from the dome, okay? Now, rap, that's what rap meant, to educate, to uplift, to understand. When the brother wanted to rap to you, then that coined the phrase into rap music. Rap music was telling everybody, rapping to everybody on wax. That's the only difference. We're rapping to everybody that listens because we got something to say, because we rapping, but it's educating and uplifting. You understand what I'm saying? And this, or it's comedic, okay? Right. And this is what it is.
And yeah, I like that. That's where it started, where it was dropping knowledge and either being like, you know, or like the Fat Boys, you know,
right? Being comedic,
mm-hmm. You know, and yes, that's exactly how it started, dropping knowledge and having fun with it.
Exactly,
having fun with it.
Mm-hmm. Brother wanted to rap to you, he wanted to educate you.
Then it came out here to the West Coast, and I ain't. Trust me, I love Snoop, I love Q, I love T. I like their stuff. I like a lot of their stuff. These West Coast dudes came out here and they started the gangster rap, and that caught on and made them gazillionaires. Mm-hmm. I ain't mad at them. Mm-hmm. Shoot, get that money, man. Whatever way you want, you're gonna get it. Take that genre and twist it into your own.
Because they were still rapping, but they was rapping their lifestyle. What they were doing. Right. They were still educating, man. Yes. They were still educating because, like I said, even if it was with the gun, you know, they were educating people on how to move or not move, where to go or not go. Okay. But you know, the education it was you know, still prevalent, right? You know, and that's my here we go again. Once I say rap music, you know, you either going to enlighten or uplift. Okay, then they put the gangster rap music in there, either going to enlighten, uplift, or shoot a motherfucker.
Okay. Or have sex with about 12 women.
Okay, so it reciprocated.
But they, you know, when they dropped their stuff, the first West Coast dudes to really get on and you know, like Dre, when they dropped that Chronic album, for instance, you know, that went double because the platinum or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know, that was more or less talking about what they did out here, right? But then it kind of evolved into like, okay, we can
hopefully,
you know,
move it a little bit,
and then it went down south, you know.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you know,
Luke and them,
you know, Luke and them took it to another level, you know. They had their own little, you know, like
dance, music, and it seemed like they speeded it up, the music, you know, because them girls, boom, they were shaking, boy. They were doing their thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. They was getting it in.
That was twerking before twerking.
Yeah, and exactly. What did they call it? They were just calling it what? I don't know, but yeah, they was getting it in.
Yeah.
Shrugs.
You know, so and then you know, then Master P and the rest of them and all that.
Where was my man from? Ludacris. Was he a Southern boy?
Ludacris down there too.
Yeah. But you know who I really enjoy coming out of there? Mystical.
Your boy, yeah.
I got something through the air like Rambo. He was bad. But each one, as I stated, they told you something about where they moved at and how they moved, or how they didn't move, or how you were supposed to move while you was down there moving.
Right. Okay. The Chicago dudes with the Thugs, Bones, and Harmony.
That was from Chicago? Okay. Because that's one thing I had never heard too many cats come out of Chicago. And Chicago was really a hit place that I never. My man was from Chicago though. Kanye West.
Common.
Common is from Chicago. Yeah. Okay,
but I think I misspoke there. I don't think Bones Thugs and Harmony from Chicago, but they from that area. But man, because they talk about it in one of their in a couple
Detroit somewhere. I know Eminem from Detroit.
I can't remember. Yeah, so then you know, them white dudes started doing it. You know,
no doubt.
Vanilla Ice. You know, even though
he melted with one song.
But still, you know, they
got the big fella hung him outside the window with his shoes in his hand.
You know, he punked in, but still.
Yeah, it is boots on fire.
White dudes getting into it. So yeah, it's you know, it's our own
collaborate and listen.
Yeah, it's our own little genre that we created, and they never said, they always said it wouldn't last, and it has lasted.
Wow, yeah, no doubt.
Unfortunately, to me, right now, it's not nearly as good or quality music as it was back,
right
when it started. Right, I see what you're saying. Those guys. Right now, it just seems like they just put anything out there.
I think it's like if you give me a funky beat, then you got to cut.
Right.
Because basically you can say anything you want on these records now, but if the beat is hitting, it's gonna sell.
And I'm kind of like that too, because when I look to see what I like, the beat first has to catch me, and then what you're saying has to catch me. But see, now a lot of times the beat might catch me, but then I listen to what you're saying, and it's like, first of all, I understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Second of all, it's like, gibberish or don't even make sense, or you just bragging.
Well, they talk in linguistics,
right?
Where and if we're not connected with the slang that they're using, then it's like all Chinese or Japanese.
I can't get with it. I mean, and there's very few of them that really catch. I used to sit down for like maybe an hour or two, just going through song by song, any kind of hip hop, song by song. And usually with me, after about 5 seconds of hearing it, I'll know whether I like it or not. So within 5 seconds,
you're cool on that.
But that's how I built my library. I got about 700 songs in my library, and that's how I built it, dude. Most of them songs, I've sat there for. I don't do that crap no more. I don't have the patience because it's too hard to find good. At least back then, I used to find good stuff once in a while. I find good to my taste, what I like.
Right.
But now it's too hard to find it, so I don't do it anymore. Anyway, let us get out of your atmosphere right now. We've been on talking about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we just chopping up. There's anything and everything.
Everything.
Good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. So I'm Rich.
I'm Al.
And we'll see you next time.
Check it out. If you got anything you want to holler at me about,
drop it in the
mail.
And I'm gonna drop the information about this book in the comment section.
Yeah. Okay? Once again, this is
the information.
Hidden Freedom by Charles Eady.
Yeah. I'm gonna drop the information in the comment section.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. There's a lot of good history in there, by the way. Y'all be good. Facebook fam. Yeah.